y'all, it's Angel from Angel Mills Brand Strategy here. We are more than halfway through the business and wellness series here on the She Is Angel Mills YouTube channel. And of course, me being me, I finally come to the conclusion that perhaps I should do a little intro video for these sessions moving forward. If this is your first time meeting me, I am Angel, again, of Angel Mills Brand Strategy, and I specialize in helping emerging entrepreneurs grow authentic relationships with their customers. Feel free to click the link below to learn more about me and my services. I started the business and wellness series because I was thinking a lot about how I can transition my business to being more than just a marketing agency. Entrepreneurship, it's a lifestyle, not just an employment choice. So it's so important that we are mentally, spiritually, and physically well. And so that's what the Business and Wellness series is all about. We have had dozens of subject matter experts come to this platform and talk to us about so many different things: business, mental wellness, physical wellness, and spiritual wellness. If you are enjoying this content, please let me know in the comments what you think, what sorts of topics you want to talk about moving forward. I would encourage you, if you have not already, to go ahead and check out the rest of my videos for the Business and Wellness series on my channel, She Is Angel Mills. I do have a playlist, so you can check them all out there. You can also click the link in my description box to register for our upcoming live sessions. So I'm so glad that you are here, that you are motivated, that you are interested in taking your life to the next level. That's always the little cliche saying that we hear, but I know I'm all about that. So again, I'm so happy to have you here. Welcome, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Hello. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the Business and Wellness series tonight. I am so excited for tonight's session. We're going to have such a great conversation. It's going to be fun. We're talking about traveling. We're talking about hopefully what life is going to be. I don't know if there's ever going to be a post-COVID, like COVID never existed, but at least what travel looks like now and how you can still enjoy traveling during this time, and of course getting your finances in order at the same time. So we're excited for a really good conversation tonight with our speaker. I'm going to bring her in a few moments, but before I do, I definitely want you guys, as I say all the time, come on in here and drop in those comments. Let me know who's here, where are you from? I want to shout you out. I am very big on, I want to feel like I know we're online. I know we're not able to be in person, but we get a chance to talk in these comments. So I want to know who's in the house. We definitely want to still have that feeling as if we're all in the same room together, even though unfortunately we're not. So yeah, please let me know if you're in the comments. Introduce yourself, give me your first name, where you're from, and if you do have, let me turn the phone off. If you do have a business, feel free to shout that out in the comments as well. We definitely want to give you some love because we know that this is a safe space for brand builders and especially entrepreneurs to come and learn and share. So definitely introduce yourself. Let's use those comments. And so while we're waiting for a few more people to come in, I want to talk a little bit more about tonight's topic and our speaker. And while I'm pulling up my information, if you know anybody who enjoys traveling, go ahead and share this link with them now before you forget. The replay will also be right at this link on YouTube. So if you have to leave at some point during the conversation, if you're catching this on the replay, it's all good. Everything's at the same location on YouTube. So feel free to share this link, even if your person can't join us live, they can watch it later because we're going to share some real gems. So you do not want them to miss it. Also, if you like the kind of content that we've been doing and you love this topic, go ahead and subscribe, give this video a like. Let's push it so more people are able to see this conversation and to join us tonight. Okay, so a couple of the things that we're talking about tonight is, of course, how to travel on a budget. So I know a lot of us love traveling. I know for me, I'm a big traveler, but of course, we don't always have these massive budgets to travel. At least we think we don't, right? We think we need a lot of money to travel. So there's a lot of tips and tricks and things that you can use to be able to give yourself these wonderful experiences on a budget without breaking the bank. On top of that, we're going to touch on how you can do that while still paying off debt and getting your finances organized. I know a lot of times we think we can't travel, we can't do a vacation because we have responsibilities, of course, that we need to take care of, or maybe we have some debt that we need to take care of. And what's so important about this conversation is that we're talking about how you can do both and how even possibly residing or traveling to other countries can aid you in your ability to pay off debt, no matter what your salary is. So a lot of times this conversation isn't talked about. Again, a lot of people think you need a bunch of money to travel, and the truth is you don't always need that. So our speaker today, Cinneah, is the creator of Flynanced.com, a debt-free travel and financial freedom blog. As a seasoned traveler to nearly 30 countries across 6 continents, Cinneah created Flynanced to inspire readers to achieve financial freedom and see the world on their terms. She documents how to plan, save, and strategize for travel without accruing unnecessary debt. Cinneah is a graduate of Columbia University and Wake Forest University School of Business. She lives and works in NYC. So a lot of us are all over the place. I'm in Metro Atlanta. She is joining us all the way from New York. So we're so happy to have her here with us tonight. And I want to shout out, before I bring her in, I'm going to shout out a few people who are in the building. We have Curtis Wilcox from Atlanta. Welcome. His company, or excuse me, we have SIF Media. We have Chuck from SIF Media and Management. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right. I believe it's Mail or Maley. I'm sorry, Miss Davis, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. From Vancouver Island, British Columbia. We have Yaya from NYC, New Jersey. And her business is called Cash is Queen. I love that name. That's an amazing name. Okay, we have Stylicia from Detroit. I'm also from Detroit, so it's great to have another Detroiter in the house, and she's joining us all the way from South Carolina, and she is an independent author, blogger, and podcaster. Her biz name is Serenity Publishing LLC. Also, if you all want to drop like Instagram handles and things like that, mine is below. Cinneah will also have hers below her video as well, so feel free to follow us and shoot us a DM and let us know you joined tonight, so we can definitely follow you back and keep this conversation going. We have Aretha from Orlando in the building, 30-minute podcast and Noir Traveler podcast. Awesome, awesome. So keep that coming. We're going to check back in and see who's in the building. We're definitely going to give you a shout out. Also, during the presentation, first, we're going to start off with a little bit of like workshop style, and then we'll come back into Q&A. I know Cinneah, I guess she can talk a little bit more when she comes on, but she'll probably answer some questions while she's presenting. And we'll also do Q&A once that portion is completed as well. And we have some goodies in store. So you also want to stay on the line because Cinneah's offering something to us that is very, very cool that you want to take advantage of. And we also have Amber from British Columbia. Miley. I'm sorry, Miley. Okay, it was not Miley, it was Miley. I was taking it so literal when I saw the mail with an E. So it's Miley. Welcome, Miley. Wonderful. Yeah. So share those Instagrams. Follow me. Shoot me a DM. I'll follow you back. And I'm gonna ask me in. Hey.
Hello. Hi, Angel. Hi, everyone.
Hello. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for joining us tonight. Hopefully, you can see these comments. We have some great
I
people from all over the
can.
world.
All over the world. I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm so excited to
We're international. A
talk
lot of
about
folks in
this.
here from Colombia.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
having me.
Of course, of course. So I know you're going to get into a lot of this stuff throughout your presentation. So I don't want to take too much from it, but I definitely want you to just take a few moments to give a little bit of an overview of kind of your journey to getting to this point where you're working with people to be financed.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Angel. So, for anyone who is not familiar with my story, I am a recovering overspender. I was a chronic swipe first, ask questions later type of person, really struggled with managing my money, managing a budget. But at the same time, I was flexing for the gram, right? I was taking trips, I was putting stuff on credit.
Mm-hmm.
And I put myself into a financial hole, right? I woke up one day and realized I have over $10,000 in credit card debt. I have student loans that I'm not paying down. I need to open up a personal loan because, like, I don't want these credit card companies chasing after me. So, truly, this has been a journey, a transformation on multiple levels for me, not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually, to really one work through those barriers that were keeping me in this perpetual cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. Two, I think not trusting my vision, that I'd had this vision to start this business, to start this blog, uh, even before I had the name Flynanced, and was so unsure of myself. I was so afraid. I was so paralyzed by fear. Like, who am I to talk about these things when I can't even get a handle of my own finances, right? And then just doing that comparison game when you see people growing their brands online and you're just like, why should I even get started? I'm nowhere near where they are, right? So working through so many layers of myself, but really setting a vision for myself almost a year ago to the date in January 15th of this year. I sat down and said, you know what? I think I can do this. I want to be debt free. I want to allow myself to receive the opportunity to just chase my dreams. This has always been a dream of mine. It's been a dream of mine for the past 3 or so years, probably more. Even in college, I thought about being a digital nomad. That idea was very novel to me then. But just said, okay, you know what? I feel like something can happen here, right?
Yeah.
So that was the first day I ever really sat down, really looked at all of my debt. At that point, I had over $23,000 in debt across student loans, personal loans, and credit cards. And this journey this year has been so rewarding, so rewarding. I mean, it's been such a challenging year for so many of us. It's been such a year of loss, but for me, it's been truly a year of abundance. I am so blessed to say that I'm a few days away from being completely debt free. I just became, yes, I just became student loan debt free a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
Yes.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yes, thank you. And even just stepping into, this business, this finance, this what started out as just a passion project, just as a place for me to talk about my debt-free journey and my love for travel, evolved into a community of nearly 10,000 people following me, getting amazing opportunities like this to join your incredible business opportunity. So, I think for anyone out there, I know many of us are business owners, are entrepreneurs, are solo entrepreneurs, but for anyone who's watching, who knows that you have that vision, that dream, that brand that you've been, telling your close friends and family about, I say to use this energy, use this moment right now to set that emotion, because you just never know where you will be a year from now. So much can happen in a year. And I'm wishing abundance and prosperity upon everyone watching right now. So I'm so excited to talk about these things. And for anyone who doesn't know, actually, Angel and I connected at BYOB Live, right? In May
Mm-hmm.
of this year.
And we put something in the chat. Like it was a very busy
Yes,
chat. because that conference typically is in person. It had to be virtual this year, of course, because of COVID. And I remember I just put this message in the chat, and several of the speakers we've had, if you want to join, if you want to watch any of our previous sessions from the Business and Wellness series, there is a playlist on my channel with all of the episodes that we have. So I put a message there. And so like at least 5 people reached out. And so I was really happy. I was like, yeah, okay, people saw it because it was moving so fast. I was like, I don't know if anyone's going to see my message, but
Yes.
I was looking to put this together. So yeah, we talked, oh my God, some months back
Literally
about
months
this.
back.
Yeah. And one of the things I wanted to touch on that stood out to me is you mentioning, you starting your brand and kind of still being in the thick of it, like the thick of the process, and
Yeah.
feeling a little bit like, well, who am I to tell anyone what to do because I'm not on the finished side of it.
Yeah.
Right. So who am I to start the business when I'm just like also figuring it out? How did you kind of overcome that those feelings so that you could get this started and be in the place that you are now?
Yeah, that's a great question, Angel. For me, it looked like seeking support from other Black women who were doing it. So for my
Mm-hmm.
own mental health, working with a Black woman therapist, working with a life coach who was able to help me really just get, so courageous and just have the audacity to say, that's what I want for my life. And I'm gonna chase it regardless of, any of the barriers I have for myself. Then on the business side, really, I am a person that really believes scared money don't make money. And I knew that I was a complete novice in this space of growing a digital brand. So investing in myself, right? Investing in workshops like we talked about, BYOB Live, that conference literally
Mm-hmm.
put the spark in me. My first time going to that conference, BYOB Live, if anyone is not familiar, was in 2019. And that was the first time I'd ever
That's
been in
what
a
I went too. I don't think we probably didn't even meet. We
I don't
didn't
think we
meet
met.
there.
It was in
Yeah, but
Atlanta,
it was
right?
right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So from there, just like learning all that I could and learning from experts and saying, okay, well, if this is an expert, someone who I want to emulate in terms of my business, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
invest in them, right? If they have a course, if they have a workshop, if they have a one-on-one, consultation that I can sign up for, definitely using that so that I could learn what I needed to learn and apply that to my own business.
Right.
And then, I would hope that everyone out here who does have a business or a brand definitely taking the legal steps to set it up as an LLC, as a true
Mm-hmm.
business formation, especially if you're in the US, because from there, that is what enabled me to get capital to be able to do these things, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when I had that LLC, then I could get business credit. And I actually, was applied for a business credit card that gave me 18 months of no interest. So I could just kind of put purchases on there, even before I started really selling and kind of getting customers and clients so that I could continue to scale without having to necessarily eat into my personal finances. So, I really think it's probably been a mix of that and then just not been afraid to just try and learn. Once I kind of set this in motion, it just started taking off.
It
And then
goes.
it was
Yeah.
just like, I can't take a break. I can't stop showing up for this, right? When
Mhm.
people start to, be attracted to your content,
You
to
got to
what you're
keep
putting
going
out
at that
there,
point.
you have to
Yeah.
keep going
But
because,
now there's an obligation there.
yes, there really
Yeah.
was. And it definitely happened in quarantine. I would say like April or May. I wasn't posting as much, and people were like, "Are you good? Like, where are you at? Like, we
You
miss
feel
your
like you're getting no love from them when you're actually posting, when you don't post it. Like I know I don't like or anything, but I look at your stuff
yeah."
and where are you?
Yeah. So those are some
Yeah.
of the things that definitely helped me. And then, just having faith, whether that looks like, being religious, being
Mhm.
spiritual, having a meditation ritual,
Yes.
journaling. You
Yes.
got to have some kind of practice that's going to bring you closer to yourself. Because woo, being a Black entrepreneur, a Black woman,
Woo!
solo
It's a
entrepreneur,
lot. It's a lot.
it's a lot. It's a lot. And,
Mhm.
for anyone who doesn't know out there, I am still working a 9 to 5 job. So, balancing those obligations of a demanding corporate job and then also moonlighting, building this business on the side.
Yeah.
It doesn't come easy. So you have to have some kind of practice that's going
Mhm.
to, just give yourself that space to just, release, reset, and keep going every day.
Love it, love it, love it. So I don't want to we're definitely not wasting time, but I know we're going to have a lot to talk about. We have a lot of time to
Yes.
talk. So I want to give you an opportunity to go ahead and share some of that information that you have prepared for us.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
we're going to come back on here. So go ahead, you all, and ask questions. It's okay for them to ask you questions
For
while you're
sure. At
presenting.
any time.
Wonderful. Everyone's telling you congratulations in the comments. So I also
Yes.
want to
Thank
shower
you.
as
I
much
see
love on you as
them.
possible.
Thank
So,
you
yes,
so
we're so
much.
proud of you. Like, that is an amazing
Thank
thing. And I
you.
can definitely relate to like that accruing debt, traveling, and I'm still paying some of it off, to be very honest.
Yeah.
So you're definitely inspiration
Yeah.
for me, for sure. So we have some folks in here who I know are going to have questions. So again, you can ask them in the comments, and then we'll come back and also do Q&A at the end.
That sounds great. Let's
Alrighty, and
start.
again, stay tuned if you're just joining us. Stay tuned because Cinneah has a very special offer for us that she's going to share some cool information to work with her. So stay tuned for that as well. Okay, so let me
Nice.
add it to the stream and
Okay.
I'll make it cool.
Perfect. This sounds good. Can everyone see it? We can see it all right, right, Angel?
Yep, it looks good on my end.
Okay,
If anyone
perfect.
in the comments has an issue, just let us know.
Okay, perfect. So, yes, hi everyone. We're going to be spending the next 30 minutes or so talking about traveling abroad to save money and pay off debt. And for those who don't know me, if you're just turning in, this is Cinneah El-Amin of Flynanced. So let's just dive right in. Okay, I have to do it this way. So what we're going to cover today, I want to do a quick little icebreaker related to travel. I'll introduce myself again for anyone who's just tuning in. We're going to be talking about geo arbitrage. So if you're not familiar with that term, no worries. We're going to be talking about it. And we're going to be talking about why now is one of the best times to pursue this pathway for your personal finances and for your business. We're going to talk about some of the ways you can lower your biggest expenses abroad. We're going to talk about building wealth abroad, right? Flynanced is all about this idea that you can build wealth and travel at the same time. So we're going to be talking about that. I'm going to be sharing some of my best recommendations to get started for anyone who is really serious about pursuing this pathway in 2021. And then, like Angel said, we'll hop back on StreamYard together and just keep chatting, answer any questions, because I know folks will have a lot of questions. So without any further ado, I would love to meet who's here. If you've been on the StreamYard, you know that I've traveled to nearly 30 countries across 6 continents, but I would love to know, let us know in the comments, where in the world would you like to travel? You know, when we can travel freely, when we can travel openly in 2021, what's on your travel bucket list? I would love to know. Okay, Bali. Yes, Bali sounds great right about now. Who else? Where in the world would you like to travel? We know that we're business owners. We deserve rest. We deserve relaxation. We deserve adventure. We deserve to see our home, right? The world is our home. So let us know, where in the world would you like to travel?
Yeah, and just so you know, with the stream, sometimes it takes,
Oh,
like
sometimes
we
it's a
hear it
lag.
earlier than that. Yeah, it's a lag, so
Okay.
it may take a few minutes for people to respond.
Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna come. Okay, folks got it.
Okay, yes, go back to Paris. Paris is so beautiful. Yes, I love that. Let us know, where in the world would you like to travel? You're here, I'm assuming, because you want to travel, so let us know. Okay, yes, next goal being Rio de Janeiro, Italy. Yes, I love Italy. Thailand, Amsterdam. Yes, okay, Cash is Queen, Santorini. Sis, take me with you when you go to Greece because I'm trying to go, okay? Like Drake said, leave all your things. Let's just hop on this flight. Yeah, these are amazing, amazing places. And what's awesome is a lot of the places that you all are mentioning are great places to consider traveling abroad to lower your expenses, right? Indonesia, Italy, Brazil, Thailand, the Seychelles, yes, seeing the continent, North Korea, okay, let's go. Curacao, yes, I would love to go to Curacao. Argentina, Venezuela, Greece. Yes. Okay. These are amazing places. So I want you all to keep those in mind as we're kind of going through this presentation, because I want you to know, yes, I know the current situation, all of these countries may not be available to us, especially if you are a US citizen. But what's great is that a lot of these places that you are mentioning, you're going to see in this presentation, you could really significantly reduce your expenses by traveling abroad in those places, in those countries. So yes, Cassius Queen, let's be travel buddies, girl. Let's go to Greece. I'm down for it. Okay, so just a quick little reintroduction to who I am. For anyone who's just tuning in, this is Cinneah. I'm the creator of Flynanced, where I believe everyone can fly financially free. This is my debt-free travel and financial freedom platform to inspire you to live debt-free, build wealth, and save for travel. As I mentioned, I've been to nearly 30 countries over my lifetime, but when I really sat down ago, I realized I've actually been to 15 countries in the last 4 years, which has truly been a blessing. It hasn't always been debt free, but moving forward, it will be. So, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, I'm just a few weeks shy of becoming completely debt free and paying off over $23,000 in debt across credit cards, student loans, and personal loans this year. This can be a message to anyone that even if you have debt and have a plan for yourself, that you can achieve incredible things in a short period of time. So my big goal in becoming debt free was to give myself the financial freedom to travel more freely. So my big goal for 2021 is traveling abroad, and really remote working, taking advantage of this unique situation that we are in, to lower my expenses and to chase adventure. I'm actually just got back from Mexico. I was in Tulum for 2 weeks, a mix of group travel and also did a week of solo travel, my first time solo traveling. So I think for anyone out there who's like, oh my gosh, this sounds amazing, but I don't think I could ever do that. That was me. Honestly, I didn't think I could solo travel. And then I was in Tulum and absolutely loved it. Right. So being there for those 2 weeks is really what just kind of cemented for me, this is the life that I want. This is the life that I want, of abundance, of traveling often. I loved being in Mexico, and now I am just so excited to see more of the country in 2021. That is going to be my first destination to travel abroad. I'm going to go back to Tulum and then just keep exploring Mexico. There's so many places that I want to see. I want to go to Oaxaca. I want to see the pyramids at Teotihuacan. I want to, go to Mexico City. I want to go to Cabo. So let's just stay tuned to this presentation, and we're going to talk more about how traveling abroad can actually help you save money and help you pay off debt. So let's just dive right in. What we're going to be talking about over the next 20 or so minutes is the concept of geographic arbitrage. So for anyone who's watching, you're probably like, what the heck does that mean? Don't worry. I had no idea what it meant either. Actually, the first time I really heard about that term was reading this book, which I highly recommend for anyone out there who loves to travel and is thinking about financial freedom. Quit Like a Millionaire is a great text. It was actually written by two individuals who became millionaires in their early 30s. They're from Canada, but they really break down how you can actually pursue geographic arbitrage as a way to pursuing really shortening the amount of time that you have to work and achieving financial freedom. So definitely check out this book if you're a reader. But simply, geographic arbitrage just means that your dollars can go a lot further in most countries abroad, right? So many of you, let me know in the comments where you want to go. You want to go to Indonesia, Thailand, Korea, parts of Southeast Asia, parts of Latin America, where, especially if you are from Canada, I know there are many of us here that are from British Columbia, you're from the United States, you're from Europe. Your dollars and your home currency can actually go a lot further in most of those countries that you'd like to travel to. So let's just dive into what is geographic arbitrage. It is simply earning a strong currency like US dollars and spending it in a country with a weaker currency like Mexico with Mexican pesos. I know I just saw a comment. What was the name of that book again? Quit Like a Millionaire. Quit Like a Millionaire. That's the name of the book, Quit Like a Millionaire. So what are some of the benefits of geographic arbitrage? With geographic arbitrage, obviously the number one benefit is that you actually can enjoy a higher quality of life. So here I am in New York City. Actually, y'all are with me in my bedroom right now in Harlem. All right. So when I think about how much I'm paying in rent right now, I'm paying about $1,000 a month in rent right now, and I have two roommates, and we have a beautiful but cozy apartment in Harlem, right? if I were to take that $1,000 and go to a place like Thailand, like Indonesia, like Mexico, I could enjoy a higher quality of life for the money that I would be spending on housing, right? $1,000 US a month in some of those places can get you immaculate, brand new studio, 2-bedroom apartments with floor to ceiling windows, with, all of the views that you'd want. But because you are in a country with a weaker currency and you are still earning a strong currency, you can actually enjoy a higher quality of life. You can also increase your disposable income. So, say you are thinking about pursuing this route, you might say, wow, okay, I was actually paying, in my case, I'm paying $1,000 a month for rent now, but maybe I don't need the bells and whistles if I go to Mexico. Maybe I will just find a place that's modest enough, but gives me all the amenities that I need in housing. And maybe it's only going to cost me $750 a month. So just think about, I've already decrease a significant expense that I would normally have, I would every day have if I was still living in New York City. But now I'm increasing my disposable income, right? So when you think about all the expenses that you have in the US that you may not have when you're traveling abroad, this is what I mean. This is what geographic arbitrage can get you. And, simply you can also benefit from favorable currency exchange rates. So, again, many of the countries that we talked about, the US dollar, the euro, the British pound, the Canadian dollar are all very strong currencies in comparison to the local currencies in some of the countries that we've already named. So what that means is that you benefit by getting more dollars in that currency from the dollars that you are already earning as part of your everyday income. And what's amazing about geographic arbitrage is that you get all of these benefits without increasing your salary or sales. So even with the salary that you already have now, even with the sales and the income that you are already generating from your business, by literally moving to another place, taking advantage of geographic arbitrage, you can enjoy all of these benefits, increase your disposable income without actually having to increase your salary or sales, which is huge for me, especially as someone who is just in my first year of business. I'm still working a 9 to 5. For me, this really sealed the deal for me and really helped me see, like, wow, I can do this and I want to do this. And why I think now is one of the best times to take advantage of this and what I consider low risk geographic arbitrage is that many of us are already remote, right? If you're in the US, you know that, yes, according to the headlines, Pfizer is bringing the vaccine out, but let's be honest, if you live in a densely populated city in the US, it may be months until we kind of go back to quote unquote normalcy, right? It may be months until we go back into our offices. But in the meantime, our borders are still open to about 30 or so odd countries where we can travel, Mexico being one of them. Like I told you, I just came back from Mexico. You don't even need a COVID test to get into the country. I literally took a flight from JFK to Cancun. It was like a 4-hour flight. I paid $30 for it, which if you're following me on Flynanced, you will find out how I did that. I'm going to post that hack tomorrow. But why I think now is one of the best times to take advantage of this is because if your job is already remote, if you only need Wi Fi and a strong cell connection to do your job, to continue building your business, then it's a great time to take advantage of maybe just a few months of lowering your expenses abroad, right? That is definitely my plan. My plan is to leave New York come February to go to Mexico. And in that time period, I'm just going to figure it out, right? While the experts are here in the US figuring out what what life is going to look like in terms of normal getting back to normal life, I'm going to be enjoying myself in Tulum, and really just taking advantage of the freedom that comes with traveling abroad. So I would highly recommend that if you're not already thinking about this, and I hope that you are because you joined us tonight, that you might think about one of right now being one of the best ways to take advantage of geographic arbitrage. Yes, I know somebody just commented Mexico is a new travel mecca. And yeah, y'all, it really is. There is such a vibrant Black community in Mexico, which we'll talk a little bit about. And if you're listening and you're kind of like, wait, did she say she flew to Mexico for $34? You would be correct. And actually, what I want to let you all know is I just launched my video digital course on how to travel for the low. It's called Fly Financially Free. And I have a special offer for everyone here. Even if you're watching this on the replay, I want to give you all 15% off of that course. Trust me, it's super affordable, and I want you to have all of the information that I use to be able to travel often for the low. So when you use the coupon code at my link, abroad21, all lower cases, you get 15% off that course. And if you're enjoying this already, you're enjoying kind of looking at me, looking at these slides, and you're going to love the course because it is literally 3 self-paced videos. We're going to get a chance to literally follow along with me from A to Z. How do you go from having a vision for where you want to travel, using savings to travel without debt, travel hacking, and all of the hacks that I use to be able to see a lot of the world without spending a ton of money. So definitely check that out. And Angel is going to link that to you all, so you have that with the coupon code abroad21. So, how geographic arbitrage fits into my financial goals as someone who is pursuing financial freedom, pursuing FIRE, for anyone who's not familiar with that term, financial independence, retire early, which again, I learned a lot about in this book, Quit Like a Millionaire. By traveling abroad to Mexico in 2021, I expect to save 50% or more of my monthly income just by literally picking myself up and going to that other country where I'm going to benefit from a lower cost of living and a weaker currency. And with that money that I would save, right, that extra disposable income, I'm going to put that towards my wealth building goals. So we're going to get into that a little bit more if you're kind of like, okay, well, what do I do now that if I am going to save all this money, what do I do with it to make it meaningful? We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But let me just check I'm going to just check the comments, make sure I'm not missing any questions. Again, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments so that Angel and I can answer them for you. And that was me in Tulum, if anyone's wondering. Yes. Okay, so let's talk about reducing your big expenses abroad. I believe that by being abroad and taking advantage of geographic arbitrage, you can significantly reduce the amount of money that you're paying in taxes and housing. Now, before we get into this section, I just want to caveat, right? In this presentation, I am not necessarily talking about residency, right? I am not talking about actually going through the process of pursuing residency in another country, which you could absolutely do. And when we get to recommendations, I'm going to give you a resource that you can look into if that is something you're considering. But I'm literally just talking about reducing your expenses by being a tourist for several months or as long as you feel comfortable in another country, right? Being on a tourist visa, right? Especially if you are from the US, your passport is like a golden ticket, which I got from my expat coach, Amber Edwards. It's like your golden ticket to seeing the world without having to even get a visa, right? In most countries, you can. And so many countries, you can travel with just your passport. You don't even need additional visas, right? In Mexico, you can actually be in Mexico as a tourist on a tourist visa for up to 6 months before you actually have to pretty much make land in another country or go back to the US before that resets. So I just want to caveat before we kind of talk about taxes, especially that I'm not talking about residency, which can be a totally different conversation. And again, I am not a financial planner. I'm not a tax professional. So if you are looking at this and you have more specific questions about your specific case, you can definitely DM me and I can send you a link to my financial advisor and my Black CPA if you want to talk more in depth with a professional about that. But here are some ways that you might reduce your tax and housing expenses abroad by being strategic with that increased disposable income that we talked about, right? So on the housing side, when you're abroad, there are a lot more options, right? Available to you that may not be available to you in the United States. So shared housing could be an option, right? Actually being in a space with other travelers, other nomadic individuals, shared housing, tiny homes. If you kind of follow that movement, this tiny home movement, you might consider an RV home. Maybe you're with your family, with a partner, and you feel comfortable kind of doing that across another country. I definitely follow Black travelers on Instagram who pursue that as a way to reduce their expenses. Long-term rentals, which is what I'm going to be looking into, actually, finding a rental in that home country or using Airbnb as a month-to-month rental option, and all-inclusive housing, which I actually learned about while I've been in the process of planning my journey to Mexico. There are actually housing options in other countries and in some really big cities in the US where all of your expenses in terms of like food, amenities, utilities are included in that single price of housings, right? So you might significantly reduce your expenses if you consider these options, right? So these are just some ideas to kind of get your thoughts flowing. On the tax side, because many of us are business owners, I hope that none of these are super surprising. But I want to just encourage you, if you do not already, and you do have a brand or business, form that LLC, especially if you are based in the US, form that LLC before you leave, right? Because when you have that LLC and you have that legal entity for your business, you can then apply for business credit and actually write off some of the expenses that you will use as part of your travels as write-offs, tax write-offs for your business, right? So even if you are taking clients virtually, even if you are selling virtually, you're going live virtually, right? You're connecting with business owners in that place where you're going to be, right? I'm a travel influencer, so I'm definitely going to be hitting up properties, brands, and influencers in Mexico to partner with. Whenever I have expenses, I accrue expenses, whether that's related to travel, grooming, business meals. I am going to make sure that I write off a portion of that towards my business because it's all one and the same, right? You can also think about investing in tax advantage accounts, which we're going to get into in the next slides. But if you're not already, this is a way that you can even do this in the US of reducing your tax expense by investing your pre or post tax dollars into tax advantage accounts, like some of the ones that I mentioned here. Also, donating to charity, right? You might go abroad and determine that, wow, there's a charity that you really want to support. And maybe with the increased disposable income, you can make a significant contribution to helping them, right? I know travelers who have helped orphanages in Latin America, who have helped families dealing with natural disasters. That's also a way of lowering your tax liability. So, again, these are just some ideas that you can use to kind of think creatively about how can you reduce your biggest expenses, being your taxes and your housing, by taking advantage of traveling abroad. So let's get into my favorite part, which is actually around the wealth building portion. So you can still build wealth in the process of traveling abroad. And, if you're following finance, you know that I'm all about we can do both. We can travel and we can build wealth, period. And we have to, right? Especially as people of color, as Black millennials, as Black folk, we have to be thinking about building meaningful wealth so that the generations that come after us don't have to struggle as much as we did and our parents and foreparents and ancestors did. And that's just on period, right? So what I would definitely encourage you to do is, if you're considering this route, to definitely think about, as you're saving money, as you're paying off debt, the extra income that you're using, that disposable money that you may normally have just been putting towards just surviving in the US, put that towards a wealth building plan. And let's talk about some of those ways that you can definitely do that. So, one of the best things I believe that you can do with the extra money that you'll save abroad is to build tax optimized wealth to achieve financial freedom. Again, we are not talking about pursuing residency here. We're talking about being tourists in another country, maybe for 3 to 6 or 12 months or however long you feel comfortable being abroad. But in that process, actually building tax optimized wealth, right? And that's going to get you closer to financial freedom, to having that generational wealth, to having wealth to be able to buy other assets, right? I know many of us want to invest, we want to buy property, we want to have the freedom and luxury to not have to work until we're 65. So this is a way to do that, right? Thinking about financial freedom as your next game plan. So what do I mean by this? So tax deferred accounts. These are all the accounts that you can actually put money in before it's taxed, and you'll worry about taxes later. You'll worry about taxes when you get to 59 and a half or 65 or whatever later in life, when you can actually start really kind of pulling out the bulk of these accounts, right? So that's your 401k, depending on the employer that you have, your 403b, your 457, your TSP. If you have a traditional IRA, which is available to anyone regardless of your employer. If you are a small business owner, right, these two next options, a SEP IRA and a simple IRA, are good ideas for you because you actually have a business that you can then create a whole nother tax deferred account under to just keep building even more tax optimized wealth. Right? We can also talk about tax sheltered accounts. So these are accounts that aren't necessarily, you're not putting pre tax dollars in, you're actually putting post tax dollars in, but it's sheltering your money, so you don't have to pay taxes when you take it out, right? So a Roth IRA, huge. I think all of us should have a Roth IRA, especially if you qualify. If you are not making too much money, you should definitely think about opening a Roth IRA. If you have children or nieces or nephew or young people in your family or in your life that you want to help support, a 529 college savings plan might be the right option. And even an IUL, for anyone who's familiar with that, an actual investable universal life plan that I actually learned about from my financial advisor, is another example of a tax sheltered account. And then also tax advantage accounts. A health savings account. If you are not familiar with this, a tax advantage account, what I mean by this is actually you don't pay taxes when you put the money in, you don't pay taxes as the money grows in this account, and you don't pay taxes when you withdraw or spend the money in this account if it's going towards qualified medical expenses. So an HSA is huge. And a pro tip is if you have an HSA and you have money in that, you can actually use the money in that account for medical expenses abroad. As long as it fits into the qualified expenses, and there are over 30,000 expenses that fit into that qualified list from the IRS, you can actually use the money in your HSA in this tax advantage account for qualified medical expenses abroad. So that is huge, right? Because again, we're not talking about necessarily applying for residency in another country that might have universal health care. So if you did get sick or something happens, if you have money in an HSA, you could take care of yourself, ensure that you get the care that you need by using this account and not even pay taxes on it. So these are just some accounts that you might consider as you're thinking about building tax optimized wealth. And if you're wondering, like, okay, like let's break it down, let's get tactical. How do I, know what account to invest in, to put money in when, right? So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about the ladder method, what I actually learned from I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. Another great book that I think everyone here should read. If you are into reading, if you want to get your personal finances under control to be able to take advantage of geographic arbitrage, this is honestly one of the best personal finance books I think I've ever read. I Will Teach You to Be Rich. But in this book, Ramit talks about the ladder of personal finance. And I've kind of tweaked it a bit because I kind of have a different perspective than this. But what I mean by this is that, okay, think about all of this extra money you're going to be saving by traveling abroad, right? We're lowering our expenses. We are taking advantage of geographic arbitrage. How do we build wealth and optimize that across all these different accounts I already talked about, right? So, like a ladder, I know these are steps, but I felt like it looked better visually. So what we do is, of course, you start at the bottom of the staircase, not at the top. So what you want to first do is focus on getting your full employer match, right? We're still talking about working our normal jobs, our 9 to 5 jobs if we have them. If we can work remote, we can take advantage of continuing to work our jobs, use a strong cell signal and Wi-Fi, and be able to work abroad. And if you have an employer that matches your 401k or your 403b or pension, definitely make sure you're contributing enough to get that full match, right? So many companies incentivize employees to actually contribute towards retirement by saying, hey, if you put in 3% of your income, 3% of your salary, we'll match it dollar for dollar up to that. That's what I mean by that. So definitely, if this is not ringing a bell, reach out to your HR and see what options you have available to you. But that would definitely be the first step in this ladder method in terms of building wealth abroad. Then the next step is going to be pay down your high interest or your credit card debt, right? Interest in this case is eating at your ability to build wealth, right? So if you got credit card debt, if you have $10,000 in credit card debt and it's costing you 22 or more percent, that's more than the money that you would probably even make by investing in stocks or in real estate, right? So it's critical that we use that extra money that we would have from taking advantage of geographic arbitrage and actually pay down some of that high interest debt so that we can build wealth quicker, right? Then I would say the next step is to contribute to an HSA, right? I know some people in the comments are already talking about you didn't know about some of the benefits of an HSA. I would say if you have a high deductible health insurance plan in the US, your third step should be after you've gotten that match, you've paid down as much credit card debt as you can, contribute as much as you can to an HSA. I think the limit in 2021 is going to be just around $3,500. So again, right, if you are someone who's a higher earner, you're making good money from your business, you might think about trying to maximize that account because of all the tax benefits related to it. Then once you've kind of done that, contribute as much as you can to a Roth IRA, especially if you qualify. It's just a great tax sheltered account that anyone can have. If you have earned income, you can have a Roth IRA. There are contribution limits depending on how much you make. So that's why I say contribute as much as you can. Then that next run, you're going to go back to the account that you contributed to in step one, your 401k, your 403b, your pension plan, whatever is your employer sponsored retirement account, and contribute as much as you can to that account. So, right, your 401k, I want to say the limit in 2020 is just about $20,000 that you can contribute yourself as an individual. So your goal is going to be to try to contribute as much as you can to that, right? And again, if you're probably sitting here like, whoa, these are big numbers. Like I've never put that much money away towards investing before. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying by taking advantage of geographic arbitrage, reducing your expenses, as we've kind of already talked about, right? Like I'm saying, I expect to save over 50% or more of my income. I expect to be able to kind of get up this ladder pretty quickly because just all the money that I would normally just be spending to survive in New York City, I can kind of put towards investing in wealth for myself and my family. And then the last step, because I know a lot of people, when they think investing, they think, oh, I got to pick stocks. I got to, have a brokerage account. I need to be on Robinhood and, TD Ameritrade. Actually, contributing to a brokerage account is the last step, right? You're not getting any tax advantages by investing in these accounts. That's not to say that they're bad, but it's to say you got all these other accounts to your disposal that are actually going to reduce your tax liability for yourself and your business. So you should invest and contribute in these accounts before you even think about your brokerage account. So I know I just threw a lot at you, and no worries if you're kind of like, I need another kind of go around with this. Definitely check out I Will Teach You to Be Rich. It's so easy to read. It's very easy to follow, and he really breaks down all of these things that I've just talked about. But if you are familiar with this, think about giving this a try, especially even if you're not going to travel abroad in 2021. I still think this is a great method to follow as you think about building tax optimized wealth, even if you're in the US or abroad or in your country. I know some folks are joining us from countries that are not the United States. Some of these accounts aren't necessarily the same. So, we can definitely chat. I can definitely kind of send you to some resources of folks that kind of are building wealth in the UK and Canada and Europe. So if you are sitting here just like, this is amazing info, I didn't even know this is possible. I'm so excited. I want to start my journey. If you're like me and are just like, okay, I'm already working on a plan to live and travel abroad in 2021, I want to share some of my favorite resources so that you can get started right away. So I've summed up some of my best resources for folks who are really serious about taking that next step to travel abroad to save money and pay off debt. So on the coach's side, I definitely recommend that you reach out to Jateria Pittman. She is one of my good friends in the personal finance community. She is a certified financial educator and instructor, and also a financial coach at Debt Free Travel Journey on Instagram. Tell her I sent you. She is going to be someone who's going to be able to sit down with your finances and really create a plan for you in terms of how much money you can afford to kind of put towards travel and to do the things that you want to do. She's lived abroad, so she knows exactly what I'm talking about. And I definitely encourage you to reach out to her. Definitely, if you are like, okay, sis, sign me up for the expat journey. I am ready to leave this country. Hit up my expat coach, Amber C. Edwards of the Carnival Boutique. Also, I included her personal Instagram, Amber C. Edwards. I'm actually in her coaching plan program right now. And myself and other Black women, we are actually working on our individual plans and what Amber considers the 30-day Black sit. If you are a Black entrepreneur, business owner, or just a person who is ready to live abroad, she helps you day by day figure out that plan. Even you're just like, no one's going to support me on this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. It's been so helpful being a part of her program. So definitely check her out and check her out when she opens up her next coaching session. If you're just like, I don't need more of the hands-on, I just want to take a workshop and kind of get more information like this, I definitely encourage you to check out the Exodus Summit, which was created by a collective of Black women travelers who are experts in this space. They're actually running a $24 sale on all their workshops. And specifically, if you want to know how to pursue residency in countries, some of the countries we've already talked about, right? Mexico, Indonesia, they're actually doing a series of workshops where you can buy them for $24 and get this information for the below. They are experts. Actually, one of the creators, Rashida D. I'm working with her on my plan to live in Mexico. She lives in Mexico City. She is one of the founders of this. So definitely there's incredible information that they share that you can get, even if you just kind of want to do more of the self-paced thing. You don't really want to kind of work with a coach and have them all up in your business. You can definitely pursue this. And then maybe you're just like, I just want to kind of get more inspiration from people. Online communities are huge, right? When I think about my own experience in Tulum, that was my first time solo traveling. But because I have been connected to some of these online communities of other Black expats and travelers, I actually found a whole community of people that I was able to stay connected with when I was solo traveling. So I was never alone. Even when I was in Tulum and I didn't necessarily know one, I just reached out to people in these communities and I ended up connecting with so many travelers. Then I got connected with the Black in Tulum group. I got connected with the Tribe Tulum group. I follow Black Mexpats, Black expats who live in Mexico, expats in Mexico City, etc. So I know many of us are probably like, I don't even use Facebook. But if you do use Facebook, it's a great way to find community of like-minded travelers and people who are doing this in real time. So you can literally just go on Facebook and just type expats in whatever city, country you want to visit. And this has been a phenomenal way for me to connect with other travelers and just, kind of get that confidence to kind of take the next step forward, to be able to do this, to travel abroad and to live abroad more consistently. So I know we went through a lot of this in a short amount of time. But this is really just to kind of get your kind of your whistle wet. What? Did that make sense? To get your whistle wet in terms of what some of the benefits of traveling abroad to save money are. But let's definitely stay connected. Again, I'm Cinneah El-Amin of Flynanced. If you enjoyed this, send me an email. If you have questions, if you want to kind of talk more about this, like I would love to hear from you and stay connected. Like Angel said, let's follow each other on Instagram. You can follow along with more of the steps that I am taking to pursue this. I'm going to be documenting my whole journey of how I get from living in here in New York City to actually traveling abroad in Mexico. And of course, I'm going to be documenting all the incredible things that I see and do. And if you are loving this and you're just like, maybe traveling abroad, living abroad is not necessarily your thing right now, I definitely want to make sure that you know that I have a special offer for all of you watching here. Even if you're watching the replay, get 15% off my digital video course where I break down, just like this, how to travel for the low, right? How I traveled to 15 countries in 4 years, how I catch flight deals, how I secure housing for the low that is safe for myself, how I travel hack. How did I fly to Mexico for only $34 because I used travel reward points? All of that I cover. Travel insurance, a lot of the things there's just like, there's so much information out there. How do you know what's right and what's good? I cover all of that in my digital video course, which is self-paced. It'll be just like this, kind of like I'm talking to you just right now. It's going to be just like this in terms of inside the course. And when you use the code abroad21, you're going to get 15% off of that video course. But trust me, it's super affordable. You might be surprised at how affordable it is. So yeah, that's it for my presentation. So definitely, I think I'm ready to come back to you, Angel, for us to just kind of chat more and answer any questions and just kind of keep the conversation going.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That was a thing. Like, as you were saying stuff, I was like, okay, I already requested the book recommendations from I love to use the library, y'all.
Yes.
So if you're in Atlanta, some of these books, we're going to be competing for them to come because we're going to be competing because I think some of them have a wait list, but that means they're really juicy if they have a wait list. So I was like pulling up my library account, like, okay, yeah, okay. Yes. Yes. So if you I don't know what other states are doing. I don't know what New York is doing, but I know for the library, if you're looking to read any of these books, or if you just want to grab them and buy them, but definitely, like I know our local library, you can request them
Yeah.
and get them delivered to your local branch, and they will bring them to your car
I
now
love that.
because they don't want you coming inside. So it's a great curbside service they have going on. So and I also went to Second Exodus
Yes.
Summit. I did attend this year. Also, so funny, and we've been in the building in a lot of the same places, virtually and in person, and that was such a great experience. So I was actually looking at some of their their classes as well. So definitely check them out. I did. So the code Cinneah shared with us is right at the bottom of the screen. The link to her course is also linked in the description box, and this code is going to expire tomorrow night. So you all definitely want to take advantage. I think that like just even having a course like price at this price point is so generous. So a lot of us I know are planning for the new year and figuring
Right.
out, are we going to be here? Are we going to be elsewhere? You know, are you considering like doing a move
Yeah.
abroad
So, like I
at
said
all?
a little bit during the presentation, I am planning to head to Mexico in February and at least be there till April. I have a family vacation I need to
Okay.
come back for in April. And then from there, I'm gonna just figure it out. I don't feel like I can see all of what I want to see in Mexico in 3 months. So my plan is to go back after that. But yeah, I'm really leaning into this spirit of just kind of like following where my spirit wants to go, following what the universe, what God is telling me to do, just kind of having faith and going one step at a time. But I know that just taking this leap of faith is something that has been on my heart and my spirit. So I'm just trying to follow that and be courageous and not kind of talk myself out of it.
Yeah, and don't. There's so many people. I think someone put that. I saw a comment. Someone put like a lot of people are moving to Mexico or spending a few months in Mexico. And that's actually the place that I'm considering as well. So
Yes.
there's definitely so many opportunities there. And it's also so interesting. I definitely want to check out the first book that you recommended. Can you repeat the name of it? It was the one that kind of went into the geographical arbitrage, Quit Like a
Yeah,
Millionaire.
like a millionaire.
How much further you can get ahead by going abroad, like because things in the United States, I mean, for you to be in New York and only pay 1,000 in rent with just two roommates is like really
It's a
nice.
steal, right? It's a
That's a
steal. So,
freaking steal. Like,
so just think about when I go to
yeah,
Mexico and I am like,
500,
paying less than that, right? Paying less than
300,
that.
yeah.
I may even have more space, and I'm actually going with my partner, so we're gonna like be splitting a lot of costs. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna be saving even more because
Yes.
now
Oh
I'm
my
not,
gosh.
I'm
Yeah.
not, just kind of thinking about
And
myself.
maintaining a very similar quality of life and better weather, quite
Better
honestly.
weather,
Right,
yeah,
because it's definitely cold. It's definitely getting chilly in New York.
yes,
So I loved everything that you shared. I know we had some questions I don't think we addressed. So
yes,
I do want to make sure we get them. Someone, Stylicia, would you
yes.
suggest traveling in spite of your debt or pay it off first? What other percent of your income can you save if 50% is a lot?
Yeah, these are great questions. So, would you suggest traveling in spite of your debt? Yes, if it's something that you wanna do, I do not believe that you have to put off travel
Mhm,
because of your financial goals. I have not, right? Like I said, I've paid
mhm,
off over $20,000 in debt this year, and I have traveled to the Dominican Republic, domestically and to Mexico without being deterred from my, debt payoff. It's just about having a plan, right? So, if you are here in the US, I think my recommendation is if you wanna travel and pay off debt is to create a travel fund. That's actually what I cover in the very first step of my video course. It's creating a travel fund. So for me, someone who was a chronic overspender, my money used to just go everywhere and I didn't even know where it went.
mhm.
But when I created a travel fund, a separate online savings account specifically for my travel expenditures, and set an amount every month that I wanted to put away in that, I found that like, oh, I can save. I'm not, I'm not cursed. I thought I was someone who could never save. But by having that travel fund, and I highly recommend that you open it up with Charles Schwab, the Charles
Okay.
Schwab high yield checking account, because there are no
Mhm.
ATM fees ever. They all get reimbursed, and there are no foreign transaction fees. That's my main card that I used to travel with. Um, you can actually do both. You can actually start saving for travel and having that money on the side so that when you see flight deals, when your friends hit you up and just like, girl, let's go somewhere. Let's go to Mexico, right? That's how I even ended up in
Mhm.
Tulum. Friends reached out to me and were just like, let's like work for a week in Tulum and just kind of figure it out. And I was like, that sounds like a
Why
great
not?
idea. Why not? But because
Yeah.
I've been saving consistently in my travel fund, I had this money on the side and it wasn't deterring me from my debt payoff goal. So it's definitely possible, and you do not have to wait until you're totally debt free to travel. And with so many of the hacks that I share in the course, you might find that travel that you thought actually cost a lot more doesn't cost as much as you might think, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you know what sites to look at in terms of finding those deals, when you know how to take advantage of travel reward cards, if you were someone who's responsible with credit cards, and have that luxury and that ability, you can actually find that you can significantly reduce the amount that it actually costs to travel, so that it doesn't become a thing of like, I gotta pick one or more. I can do both, right?
Right.
I can save for travel, I can pay off debt, I can save and invest to build wealth, right? I've been doing all of these
Mm-hmm.
things this year. And for many of us who have multiple incomes, multiple streams of income, it's definitely possible to do, right? It just requires
Mm-hmm.
a plan. So definitely, if you want like a more in-depth kind of view of what that looks like, I would definitely say my course would be a great recommendation for you. What other percent of your income can you save if 50% is a lot? Yeah, of course, like 50% is definitely more of the recommendation of someone like me who is pursuing financial independence in a short period of time, right? I want to retire in my 40s or earlier. So I am trying to be very intentional about putting the bulk of my income towards investing in terms of wealth. But I think even if you can get to a point where you are consistently saving 20% of your income to invest in these accounts that we talked about, right? In your employer sponsor retirement accounts, in your Roth IRA, in your HSA, I think that's a great place to start, right? But,
Mm-hmm.
I hope the big takeaway that everyone took from this is that when you have the ability to travel abroad, to take your income and your job and just kind of move abroad, you might find that 50% may not be too crazy because you're living in a place with a considerably lower cost of living.
Right.
And in a place where your dollars that you're earning in US dollars go a lot further because you're taking advantage of a more favorable currency exchange rate. So you
Mm-hmm.
might find that, yes, 50% might be a lot right now, but in traveling abroad and living abroad, you might find that you can easily do 50% because all of these expenses that you were normally having just to survive now become part of your disposable income. So that's definitely what I'm gonna be kind of doing, the social experiment for all of y'all. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll
Yes,
see
you have
that.
to keep us. So we should definitely check back in
Let's do it.
like sometime in the spring to see how it's going, get your
Yeah.
experience. Is it something you recommend for people to try? Where you recommend maybe folks to try to live or to try to live for a
Okay.
little bit? I would love to hear about it. I would love to hear
Yeah.
about it. So I think also someone said, Miley said she is a tourism student at Vancouver Island University. She has a paper on live events. Um, when did you start this company work? Also, Cinneah. I'm not sure if that question is directed towards me or Cinneah Miley, but yeah, I would definitely suggest just DM us. If that was
Yeah.
directed
DM
towards
us.
me, just DM me on Instagram and I'll take this
Yeah.
comment off.
DM me. Yeah.
Yeah,
DM
DM
me,
us
Miley.
and we can help.
Yes, and I
Um,
know there was another comment about Antigua. Definitely Antigua.
yeah.
I forgot to mention this, but my expat coach, Amber C. Edwards, is based in Antigua. So she actually is a great source of information if folks are kind of like, you want to be more in the Caribbean, in a Black Caribbean island.
Mhm.
He talks amazingly about Antigua and the benefits of being there as an expat, as a Black American expat. And several ladies in my coaching program right now and 38 Black Sit program
Mhm.
are going to Antigua from the UK and Europe, I think. So,
Nice.
so it's definitely possible. It's definitely doable.
Mhm.
Thank you for that suggestion, Amba 713. Oh, have I connected with hospitality and tourism brands like NH Hotels, IBS? No, I haven't. So I'm glad that you said this because this is a sign from the universe that I am right about what
Yeah.
I need to be
So
doing.
then it'd be 80% of your income because everything will
Okay,
be sponsored.
period. So I'm gonna write these down for myself. But yeah, I'm gonna write these down for myself.
Yeah,
So
because she's talking about he or she, I'm not exactly sure the gender, but they're talking about leveraging discounts like during your stay.
yes, I
So
like this
Silesia
a
says
lot.
she's definitely creating her travel fund.
Yes,
Yep,
I'm
and we
so
talked
excited to hear
about,
that.
yes, if you all have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Also, again, if you like this content, please like and subscribe to
Yes.
the video. So definitely give us a little push up. Um, Let's see if we missed anything. If we missed your question, go ahead and type it in again. Yeah, Quit Like a Millionaire was one of the books. Okay, First Time Solo Travel. That.
I think we might have covered all of them.
Nice. Well, I do want to have some time while if anyone wants to ask any questions, you can hop in the comments and do that. I did want to ask you about your course and some of the different things, diving a little bit deeper into some of the things that you're going to be addressing on the course. And I have the actual site pulled up right in front of me. So I know you're kind of talking about your story, and kind of the framework that you use to get to where you are now, and then a resource list.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I know a question just came in that someone recently got their passport and yesterday. Woo! Yes, congrats.
Congratulations.
Yes. Any beginner tips on beginning? So I'll kind of answer both of these questions in one, Angel. So my course, Fly Financially Free, is all about how to travel often for the low. So if you are sitting there like, how the heck did she go to 15 countries in 4 years? Of course, this is pre-COVID, but I did go to DR. That's part of the 15 countries this year. That this course lays out how to start, right? So there are 3 sections to the course. The first section is all about foundation. So we're going to talk about travel funds. If you're not familiar with that concept, I explain how you can consistently save for travel and still be able to do the things that we talked about, right? So we just talked about how do you pay down debt and save for travel and invest. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. But by having that account and creating a plan for your money, you actually find that it's easier and takes off some of the effort of actually starting to save for travel consistently, and avoid traveling that may put yourself into debt. In that section, we also go over, I know everybody loves to talk about travel hacks, right? Like the best sites to use, what are the apps to use, when are the times to buy. I really don't subscribe to a lot of those ideas. Like, I don't really believe that there's like the best time to buy.
Say Tuesday.
Yeah, everybody says Tuesday at midnight is the best time to buy, but then that doesn't explain how I found super cheap flights on days that aren't Tuesday at midnight, right? Or I think some of the things apply, but I don't necessarily know all the things that apply, right?
There's no exact
framework. There's no exact framework, but I talk about some of the sites that are probably the most common ones that folks use for cheap flights, right? So I talk about Google Flights, Skyscanner, Kayak, Hopper, Airfordable, and I don't just kind of talk about them like, oh, you should use them. I actually kind of talk about what's the risk that you take on by buying cheap flights from some of these sites, right? Because not a lot of people talk about that. It's not just about getting a cheap flight, but it's about we are in a completely different traveling world now, right? Post-COVID, it's not just about getting a cheap flight. It's about having the leverage if something happens to you or that flight. If you've bought it from some of these third-party OTAs, online travel, exactly, you have no leverage. You have absolutely no leverage if something happens. If the airline changes that flight, you pretty much have no leverage because you didn't buy with the airline, right? So I talk about some of these things, how it's not just about finding cheap flights. It's about how do you make sure you avoid losing money at every step in the journey, right? I talk about how I never pay baggage fees, right? Even when I get super cheap flights, I never pay baggage fees, and some of the ways that I've done that, right? So that's all that we talk about in the first section. In the second section, we actually talk about some of the ways that you can overcome barriers to travel, right? So many people tell me, I would love to travel, but I don't make enough money. I don't have enough time off, and I don't have anyone to travel with. So I combined those things into one section in the course where I talk about, here are the ways that I've made extra money to travel, right? Some ways that you may not even think about, right? By using sites like Rakuten. If anyone's not familiar with Rakuten, you need to learn about Rakuten.
So how do you spell that? Like Rakuten?
R-A-K. It used to be eBay.
Oh, Rakuten.
Yeah, Rakuten. Rakuten. Oh, is it Rakuten? I would say Rakuten.
I've heard people say Rakuten. Who knows? You could be right too.
I don't know either. Yeah, oh well. We talk about the same thing. So like that's a great example of like a low effort site that like if you're already online shopping, and many of us are because of the pandemic, get some extra money. I literally got $70 last month just using this site. And like, and I wasn't spending any extra money. you know?
Mm-hmm.
Then I also talk about some side hustles that I've done that anyone can do that I've done to make extra money to pay off debt and to travel, right? Like consumer focus groups. A lot of people don't know you can actually
Yeah.
get paid for your opinion from these larger market research companies. And I've made like 250 or more a month just getting on a live or
Mm-hmm.
going to a little site. Obviously, COVID, taking precautions around COVID, and made extra money that I can put towards travel or whatever I want. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I talk about that. I talk about ways that you can get creative with taking your personal time off if you have it and you feel like this is a deterrent from you, and also ways to find community around travel, right? This idea that like maybe you might be the only person in your friend group who wants to travel. That shouldn't stop you because I am telling you the world opens up once you kind of make those
Right.
connections.
Then you have friends everywhere and you're meeting them wherever. Like, oh, I'm over here. You're over here
Period.
today? Come on, we're over here. And where'd you meet?
Yes.
Oh, we met in Paris. Are we? Yeah,
Yes, period. And I tell you
definitely.
some of those ways to
Mm-hmm.
meet those people, right? And then the third part of the course is all about travel hacking, one of my favorite topics because I don't feel like enough of us know how to do it without messing up our credit, without wasting a bunch of money and time. So I break down how to travel hack. I actually travel hacked to Mexico. I only spent $100 round trip to fly from BWI to Cancun and back to JFK. Only $100. So if you had $100
Mm-hmm.
in your bank account, you could have done it too. You could have gone to Tulum for 2 weeks and flown there on good flights. Like I wasn't flying on
Yeah.
Spirit. No shame against Spirit, but I was flying on American Airlines and Delta. But how did I do it? I travel hacked one of the legs. And if you're not
Mm-hmm.
familiar with travel hacking, it's using travel reward points to reduce the amount of money that you have to use to actually travel with. So even when I go back to Mexico in February, the flight's only $34 plus 5,000 points.
Woo.
Right?
Wow.
So it's like, what, huh? If you never heard of this, definitely getting into my course because I break down how to get started travel hacking, right? I break down what cards you should open, how to avoid losing money so that you're not just spending a bunch of money to try to get the points, and ways that I've actually earned over 100,000 points to travel, right? Several $1,000s in free travel by not spending a dime, right? So all
Mm-hmm.
these things I break down in the course. So those are the three sections. It's foundations, accelerate, and advance. And I'm just so excited to share this information just so we can advance the conversation beyond how do we afford to travel
Right.
to, what are all the other
Where are
benefits
we
that come with
going?
travel? Where are we going? And
When
when
are we
we're
going
there,
there?
how can we make impact? How can we
Mm-hmm.
encourage more people to come with us? What can we do? What does this movement look like when more of us know that travel is within our reach, right? So I'm so
Mm-hmm.
excited to share those things with you. And definitely for anyone who's listening and it's just like, I want to check this out, definitely use the code abroad21. That's the special code for anyone on this stream right now to get 15% off. And I'm so excited to
Mm-hmm.
share, and just let me know what you think, your comments, your questions, your feedback. I would love to hear it. And it helps me improve for the future.
Absolutely. And so we do have a question from Shantavia, and she asks, is Just Fly a good place to book decent flights?
So that's a good question. I never have used Just Fly, but I would say my advice is always to book directly with the airline.
Mm-hmm.
That's always
What about
my.
Expedia? I've used like Expedia and stuff before, but it
Mhm.
can, I know at the start of the year, I used Expedia to book a trip to Ghana, but something about the flights were inaccurate, like the times and things like that. So it wasn't until maybe the day of when I went to check in, I was like, wait, my flight is like 2 hours earlier than what it said on Expedia or something like that. I mean, it was fine. I lived close to the airport at the time, so I
Mhm.
could redirect, but that I was not expecting that. And then of course, when I got to the airport, one of the legs of my flight wasn't quite right. So it was just like, yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
when you're doing international and you're doing multiple legs, if you don't, if you're going through these third party sites, like miscommunication, flights change, whatever, and it doesn't always get caught up. So,
Yep. That's exactly it. And I would
mhm,
just add to that, Angel, I think being in this current environment post COVID-19, where there's still so much uncertainty around
yeah.
travel, having leverage is going to be key, right? So knowing that you book directly with the airline, and if a flight is canceled, if the airline changes the itinerary, I break down those ways that you can always make sure you get all of your money back. Because I don't know if anyone was in this situation, but I remember in March and April, everybody's flights were getting canceled, and everybody was just like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I just took the travel credit," and I was like, "No, get your money back." If the airline cancels your flight or changes your itinerary by more than 2 hours or takes you from a nonstop to a connecting flight, you have the leverage, if you book directly with the airline,
To
to
get your
get
money.
all of your money back. Literally, I have booked like a $500 flight to Florida. Don't ask me why I paid that much to fly to Florida. It was just like I was pressed. That was like the time that I wanted or whatever. And then the flight got canceled, and Delta was like, "Oh, we're giving everyone e-credits that you can use up to 2022, blah, blah." I was like, "No, I need my money back." The Department of Transportation says that an airline, this is violating your contract of carriage if you don't give me my money back. And sure enough, my 550 went back on my credit card, right? But again, if I hadn't advocated for myself and not known, right? And actually, I give you a script in my course, in the resource guide, I give you a whole script. If you're just like, what do I say? What do I do when I'm talking to? How do I advocate for myself? I give you a whole script. You just follow along with the script, and you know exactly what to say. And they may push back, and that doesn't mean that you can't be.
And you can push right back, and we can just be pushing until that money is pushed into my account. Okay.
Period. I always get my money back. So yeah, I would just say with Just Fly, I think you just being aware of the risk. I think it's always best to book with an airline directly. Doesn't mean that you can't book with some of these other sites, but just be aware if you can't take on the risk, and you would be upset if you couldn't get your money back for that, then it's probably not worth it. Oh, I think another question just came in.
Yes. The global entry versus the mobile passport app.
Ooh, this is a great question. So I always say global entry is worth it. I consider it a top recommendation for any traveler. And why I do is because global entry also covers you for 5 years, and it also includes TSA pre-check.
On domestic flights.
On domestic flights. So no matter if you're traveling within the US or you're returning back to the US, you always have accelerated clearance. And I can't imagine life without global entry now, literally.
Especially living in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I don't know how you live in Atlanta and you don't have global entry. Like those lines. I mean, even the TSA lines are getting, those like pre-check lines are getting longer, but yes, like I think also when you live in a certain city that the airport is crazy, like it can really make a big difference.
Yeah. But I've never used the mobile passport app. It's not as accelerated as global entry. Nothing is as accelerated as global entry. So even with mobile passport, you still have to pretty much wait in the line with the rest of everyone else kind of arriving for customs. But with global entry, they've even made it faster now. So you don't even have to, you literally just like push a button.
You don't have to take your clothes off. I mean, not your clothes. That doesn't sound right. But shoes, jacket, all that.
Yeah, well, and with global entry, it's like there's a kiosk where it's pretty much using biometrics now. So you literally just press a button, take a picture, and you're through, right? So it's just I think it's worth it all the time. And a pro tip, there are actually some ways that you can actually get global entry paid for. So you don't actually have to pay the $100 or so, depending on if you have a travel awards card like an Amex Platinum card, Chase Sapphire, or the Chase Sapphire card, Chase Sapphire Reserve. You actually can get your global entry fee paid for. You get a credit back to your credit card if you use your card to pay for it. So that's just another good hack. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So it's an ACO report. So recommendations on travel insurance. I don't know if any companies you use for travel insurance.
Yeah, so travel insurance is a great question. I talk about this in the course. I would say this is a number one thing that every traveler needs, especially if you're traveling abroad. Travel insurance is key. So what I've used in the past is Alliance. Alliance is a large national company that provides travel insurance. What's great about Alliance, they also provide annual plans. So if you're someone that travels often, you can actually get an annual plan that's going to cover all of your trips within that calendar year, which has been huge for me in terms of saving money. And what's great about travel insurance, it doesn't cost a lot of money. I think people think, oh, I don't need travel insurance because it's going to be an added cost, but like, it's worth it. Okay. Trust me. The one time I did not get travel insurance when I went to Thailand, I ended up losing my phone. I ended up having my luggage be misplaced in Hong Kong by the airline, and I didn't get it for several days later. Both of these examples would have been things that I could have actually gotten a claim for with my travel insurance, but because I didn't have travel insurance, I was not covered. But it's
Yeah.
also great in terms of like the medical and emergency coverage, trip cancellation. If you are in a situation where, say, you're on one leg of your flight and there's a delay and you miss that next leg of your flight, being able to just have coverage and being able to kind of have recourse so that your entire trip is not ruined. But another great site that you might consider for travel insurance is World Nomads, especially if you are an entrepreneur who has equipment that you want to insure, like your laptop, expensive cameras, lenses, video equipment, anything like that. World Nomads is a
World
great option.
Nomads. Okay.
World Nomads or Alliance are great options for travel insurance. And in the course, I talk about some of the other things to just kind of keep in mind when you're comparing travel insurance plans to just make sure that you're getting the coverage that you need in terms of the most common things that you actually need in terms of travel insurance. But that's a great question.
Yes, awesome question. Do we have any other questions happening right now?
This was so great.
I know. This is a great, great, great conversation. Maybe we can answer like 1 to 2 more questions.
Okay.
Let's see. Well, I'm not seeing any additional ones at the moment, so we'll give a couple of more minutes. But yeah, this has been a great. I know I've learned a lot of things. I'm like, oh, I can do this. I can do that. I can do this and that. So it's awesome
definitely possible.
Yeah, and I think also with COVID, definitely that I think that travel insurance is a great question just because you just don't know what's going to happen, who's going to be shutting down next. It's so uncertain, very hard to plan in advance.
Yes.
Yes. Also can kind of hard to plan when you get there. You don't know what's going to happen from a day-to-day perspective. So
much uncertainty up in the air, but definitely
so you want to be as savvy as possible for sure.
Yes, we want to be as savvy as possible for sure. I'm going to take a little boomerang of us.
Okay.
Yes. Oh wait, it didn't do it. Never mind. Sorry, I got to do it again.
Okay,
now
ready?
Okay, 1, 2, 3. I love how we went the same way. That's great. Okay. But yeah, no, this is so great, Angel. Thank you so much for having me here to talk to your audience and just everyone. Thank you for joining us for part of your Sunday evening. But yeah, again, if anyone wants to connect with me, follow my journey to traveling abroad in Mexico in 2021, or just building wealth, achieving debt freedom, staying inspired on this journey, definitely follow me on Instagram at fly.nance, FLY.NANCED. Yes, right here. And like Angel had mentioned, if you're sitting back and like, let me think about this course again, that code abroad21 is going to be available until 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow on Monday, the 14th. So definitely tell a friend, send it to some people. It's a great gift for the holidays of something that's just like, hey girl, you always talking about traveling, check out this course.
Get ready. And I think also boosting your confidence if you feel like you mentioned earlier, if you are concerned about traveling abroad or traveling abroad like solo, or if this is kind of maybe some of your first time and you haven't traveled a lot, I think having a space where you're getting kind of all of this knowledge so you're super savvy when you're out there is going to boost your confidence definitely to get you out there and exploring the other opportunities that are available for traveling and for living, quite frankly, and how that can not only something you can do while you're on your different financial goals, while you're pursuing those goals, but also what you can do to help push you and propel you towards achieving them. So I love that we were able to talk about how travel can actually be used to propel you towards your financial goals, as opposed to just creating a hole in your pocketbook, as a lot of people often think. So, Cinneah, we're so happy to have had you tonight as well. And thank you for everyone who tuned in live. If you're tuning in on the replay, it's a pleasure to have you watch this as well. I will be sending you all an email if you registered in advance. So I will be letting you know what our upcoming sessions are. Our last session will be the week after Christmas of the year. And then we'll still have more conversations like this within the new year. So again, if you like this kind of content, go ahead, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when new content is up. Also, I want to invite you to join me on the same channel here tomorrow for a free branding workshop. Some of you may have already attended the workshop. Some of you, this may be your first time hearing about it. I will send it in the email, the follow-up email, more information for you to sign up to get the link for this session. It will be privated on my channel, so you will have to have the link to join. So I definitely can't wait to see you there for that. Cinneah, did you have anything you want to share with us before we close out? You shared a little bit of what's up next for you, but what should we be looking out for?
Yeah, so like I mentioned a little bit, I'm working with Amber C. Evers on my 30-day black sit. And actually, she just texted me and said if anyone on this live is interested in learning about her coaching program and wants to create their own plan to live abroad and to do it sustainably abroad, I will include the link in the follow-up so that you can learn about her services and her
from
coaching
Exodus,
program.
right?
No, she's not from Exodus. No, her
Okay.
brand is the Carnival Boutique.
Carnival Boutique.
But especially if you're thinking about Antigua, the Caribbean, or just anywhere globally, she has a wide network. And just what I've loved about working with Amber is just her kind of putting that positive affirmation into my life and in my business that like, it's going to work out, girl. You're not going to necessarily go back.
Just keep pushing.
Just keep pushing. But in terms of for me, definitely stay tuned for my journey as I become debt free on New Year's Eve. So I'll definitely be sharing a lot more about that. I also am going to do a really cool giveaway this upcoming week because I just am about to hit 10K. So I'm going to do my biggest giveaway ever. 3 winners. I'm going to be giving
10K
out
on Instagram, right?
10K on Instagram.
Nice.
So I'm super excited about that. And then, yeah, my big goal for 2021 is just building wealth, traveling abroad. So if you want to just follow along, see how I'm doing that, and stay connected, I would love to stay connected and just chat with you more.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you all so much for joining. Check out the links below. Stay tuned to your email for additional information, and we will see you soon. So, Cinneah, if you want to stay on, I'm going to go ahead and end it, and then we can chat for a little bit.
Sounds good. Bye, everyone.
Okay.